Gentlemen, it is finally here. The delayed ejaculation video that you have been requesting for such a long time and waiting so patiently for, and no, the irony is not lost on me. All right, delayed ejaculation, or the inability to consistently reach orgasm within a reasonable amount of time. I'm sure there's a lot of guys watching who are thinking being able to keep a hard-on for ages without coming is a superpower. But any woman who has been pounded for what felt like a millennia with no end in sight knows that this is not always the case. And the truth is that delayed ejaculation can be just as big of a sexual issue as premature ejaculation. It can wreak havoc on your relationships and can be both physically and emotionally frustrating for all parties involved. And if you're in a relationship with someone who struggles with delayed ejaculation, or DE, it may feel hopeless, but I've got you. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about delayed ejaculation, as well as what to do if you or your partner is struggling with it. And by the way, delayed ejaculation is on the rise. Take my word for it. More and more men are experiencing it, and yet it's still so rarely discussed. Premature ejaculation and erectile dysfunction really rule the conversation on men's sexuality, but delayed ejaculation affects a growing number of men and their partners, and if this is happening to you, it's important to understand what's going on and how to approach it, including what not to do. And I'll tell you about all of that from my firsthand experience as a sex and relationship coach. I'm Caitlin B, and let's dive right in. First things first, what is delayed ejaculation? Simply put, it's when a man requires a super extended period of sexual stimulation in order to reach orgasm, or is unable to reach orgasm at all. And what do I mean by extended period of time, or what is unreasonably long? Well, that is entirely unique to you and your relationship. Although some scientists have qualified DE as when a man takes more than 30 minutes of stimulation to ejaculate, I don't think it's helpful to put a specific number on it. I mean, 30 minutes is arbitrary, it's meaningless, since that may be the perfect amount of time for you and way too long for someone else. And as with pretty much everything else, sex and relationships, it's only an issue when it feels like one to one or both people involved. The difference between having long-lasting erections and delayed ejaculation is that with delayed ejaculation, there's often straining to achieve orgasm. Getting there, getting over the edge is a struggle. You may find yourself glancing at the clock and wishing it would just happen already. Or maybe you feel like you're in an ocean of pleasure, just trying to catch a wave so that you can surf to shore, and it never happens. So you end up swimming your way to shore or whatever. I don't surf, but you could just finish that analogy. I don't know, maybe it's you masturbate on your own, or you just give up and don't ejaculate at all. Either way, you gotta tote the surfboard all the way back to shore, and it sucks. So what causes delayed ejaculation? Well, researchers and doctors haven't been able to identify just one single cause. Instead, DE seems to be caused by one or more factors, and they could include emotional, mental, and physical or biochemical variables. So let's take each of those one by one. Cause number one, mental and emotional blocks. In order to reach orgasm, we need to feel present in our bodies, and beyond that, really safe and centered in them as well. And when there's too much going on in your mind, and you're unable to tune into the present moment, it can actually be quite challenging to let go and experience the sensations necessary to take it over the finish line. Depression, anxiety, situational factors can all affect a man's ability to ejaculate. And these mental and emotional factors can cause feelings of numbness and an inability to experience adequate pleasure or arousal. In most cases, it has nothing to do with the partner or the attraction that they have for them. However, if there are unresolved issues in your relationship, maybe things that you haven't communicated about or some resentment that's privately going on, it is possible that that can also play a role. If the cause of you or your partner's delayed ejaculation is emotional or mental, it's important to approach it with care. Be understanding, as non-judgmental as possible. Try having a loving conversation with your partner about where they are mentally, or take that conversation to a therapist or a coach and have that conversation with yourself so that you can determine what's going on and why it's affecting your sex life as such. Once you have a thorough understanding of what's going on behind the scenes, you can develop a game plan to resolve the issue. And if what's going on is depression or anxiety, it may require counseling, lifestyle changes. If it's a relational issue, it's time to have some more conversations, maybe develop some communication skills and work towards repairing the emotional wounds that are present. Cause number 2, and this is a physical behavioral cause, masturbation habits. For some men, the issue in DE is rooted in the way that they masturbate. I've said it 1,000 times before, I'll say it 1,000,000 times more. The way you masturbate affects the way that you have sex. Masturbation habits can contribute to DE in a few important ways. The first thing to consider is how rough you are with yourself while masturbating. There are not enough Kegels in the world for a vagina to compete with the death grip that a hand can make. And if you are using a lot of pressure and a lot of force during masturbation, then your body may be accustomed to an excessive amount of stimulation. And in some cases, this might result in you having to be extra rough or maybe extra dry or maybe extra fast with your partner in order to ejaculate, which can actually cause a ton of physical discomfort for her, or him for that matter. Another factor might be visual stimulation. If you've been on the internet at all, then you know that there is no limit to how extreme porn can get. And hey, to each their own, this is a non-judgmental space. But as with creating a need for excessive physical stimulus by masturbating too roughly, the porn you watch can also affect your ability to mentally reach a state of arousal that is needed to come. So if the porn you're watching is very extreme in nature, the average sex act may just not cut it. And it actually doesn't have to be that extreme in order for your brain to develop a tolerance to it. The problem is that most porn is not representational of real sex. And of course, it isn't healthy or reasonable to have those expectations in your relationship. Remember, porn is Jurassic Park. Real life is having cats. So what can you do if porn is the potential cause? Well, make sure to approach the issue without judgment, avoid blaming or shaming. You don't have to shame your partner or feel shamed yourself, but discuss and discover how delayed ejaculation may be caused by those masturbatory or porn habits and see if you're willing to make some changes and see if things improve. Be patient because it may take weeks, even months to see a significant difference. Remember that porn is a pretty powerful drug, has some pretty strong effects on the brain, and brains change slowly over time. It's all good, nothing wrong. That's how they're designed to do it. Ask yourself if you're willing to change up your masturbation routine for a little while to see if it might make a difference. A good place to start is to switch to a masturbation sleeve instead of your hand. Make sure that you're using lube, which will also decrease the friction and eliminate porn. Don't be freaked out if the first time that you go to masturbate without porn, you actually can't even get hard. That's okay. It's okay if you find yourself having a hard time reaching ejaculation without porn. That doesn't mean that anything is wrong or that you have to go back to porn. It just means that you may have to withstand some discomfort before your body is able to get there without these external factors. Cause number 3, physiological and medical causes. In some cases, delayed ejaculation is more of a physiological issue, meaning that it's something that is going on inside of the body. And when that is the case, it's something for you to work through with your doctor. Although these causes are pretty rare among healthy younger men, some things that can contribute to delayed ejaculation are certain medications, nerve damage, prostate or urinary infections, and hormonal imbalances. Like I said, these causes are more rare in healthy younger men, and usually addressing the other causes is a great place to start. But if you think that you or your partner's delayed ejaculation may be caused by one of the things I just mentioned, please go to see a doctor and discuss what your options are. Regardless of what is causing the delayed ejaculation, it is totally valid for you to address it, especially if it is making your sexual experience uncomfortable. And here's the most important piece of this video: what not to do. And I'm saying this after years of being a specialist in men's pleasure and working with many men on delayed ejaculation, both one-on-one and inside of my High Performance Male The Advantage membership community. Do not, and I repeat, do not add fuel to the fire. What do I mean by that? Do not squeeze harder, pump faster, endlessly chase more sensation. This, my friends, is a losing game that I have seen dozens of men who I've worked with on delayed ejaculation have already tried. Learn from their experience. More sensation is not the answer. The answer is actually more sensitivity. It's like when you are dehydrated and you keep drinking water, but your body can't absorb it, so you just keep peeing it out. You can add all of the water you want to your body, but if you don't actually add the electrolytes needed for it to get absorbed, you aren't gonna change a damn thing, and you may make the situation even worse. So a lot of guys, when they realize that they can't ejaculate, add more porn, add more extreme sex acts, add dirtier talk. They ratchet everything up and up and up, and they're essentially chasing a moving target. Instead, take away and start to do less so that your body can become more sensitized to what's actually going on. It's kind of the difference between someone scratching you like this. Eventually it's gonna hurt, but it doesn't feel particularly good, and you will get numb eventually. But if I do this to you, and I just very, 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 very lightly touch you with my fingernails, your nerve endings are gonna stand up at attention because they're actually tuning into the less sensation and not to the more. Working towards regaining sensitivity and the ability to orgasm takes time and effort, and it is up to you to decide whether that is worth committing to in order to make a change. And a message to partners: be honest if something hurts. If the intensity is too much for you, you do not have to tolerate being pounded over and beyond the point where it doesn't feel good anymore. This doesn't help in the long run, and it can make things significantly worse for your sex life. So please don't tolerate things that don't feel good to your body. Even if your partner has delayed ejaculation, it's not your responsibility to be on the receiving end of all of that extra sensation. You can figure out something else that works. So yes, even though it takes some work, delayed ejaculation is absolutely something that can be overcome. It's more nuanced than I'm able to share with you inside of this short YouTube video, so check out my High Performance Male group if that's something that you want some support with. But in short, in summary, slow the down, tune in, stay committed to the goal, and you can get there. I'm Keelan B, your sex and relationship coach. Thank you for watching, and make sure that you subscribe so that you'll get notified when I come back with a new video next week. Bye-bye.